Well, welcome to Jefferson Liberty Radio, the voice of liberty in the Central Valley of California. I am Matthew. I'm actually out this week, so this is all pre-recorded, but I'm going to pass it along to the team in studio in just a second. But first, I want to tell you about our sponsorship opportunities. We are looking for sponsors for our show. We do really need your support to keep this show on the air. So if you're interested, we believe that we would provide great services to you, your business venture, etc. If you or anybody that you know of are interested in sponsoring our show, we've got some pretty reasonable rates. You can get in touch with us at sponsors@jeffersonlibertyradio.com. You can head over to our website, jeffersonlibertyradio.com. Find us on Facebook, message us, get in touch with us somehow. We do have a phone number as well, 209-214-8099. That's 209-214-8099. Get in touch with us. We would really love to set up a sponsorship opportunity for you or somebody that you know. We'll be looking forward to hearing from you soon. Now let's get on to the episode, and I'm going to pass it along to the team in studio.
Well, welcome to Jefferson Liberty Radio. I am Pat, and I'm back behind the microphone, and we've got John. Hi, John.
Hello, Pat.
Hi, and we have Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Pat.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good. How about yourself?
Good. We'll also have Holly, who is going to be talking about a ballot initiative and some ideas that she has. Welcome, Holly, to Jefferson Liberty Radio.
Thanks, Pat. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
Good. I'm glad you're doing well tonight. I'm glad everybody's doing well. I'm glad we're back behind the microphones here. Holly, what do you want to do a little introduction to what you have in mind here, and we'll just take it from there, okay?
Okay. So the ballot initiative process, actually, what we've been talking about on the California Rising Facebook page is it's very simple. There's about 5 steps to it. The first step is this, and this is what this does is this ensures that what happens is that we are able to propose a constitutional amendment for the state of California. And then this is just the initiative ballot process to get it on the ballot. So we don't have to go through, our California legislature, who is kind of an iffy choice there, whether they'll vote for it or not, or put it on the measure. This process, we are doing the one with it's like 900 and something thousand signatures we need to put it up on as a measure. And then it'll be voted on. So on the next ballot. So that's the process and route we're going. The first step with that is writing the proposed initiative measure. Now, there's some technicalities sometimes within these steps. I'm not going to go too into detail, but I'll give you kind of a basic overview. It's just writing the proposed law, pretty much, that you want to be proposing. Ours is obviously about representation, is that we are very underrepresented. So that is definitely our route. Me and John have spoken about before splitting it into 2 initiatives because it kind of calls for that. So basically, when you do that step 1, and then let's see here, is the first step in the process of the qualifying an initiative measure is to write the text of the proposed law. So once we've written it, we pretty much move into step 2, which is to request for circulating title and summary. What that means is we must submit a draft of the proposed initiative measure to the Attorney General with a written request that is circulating the title and summary of the chief purpose and the points of the proposed initiative measure be prepared. So there's a fee that comes with that too. There's a $2,000 fee, and with that, the way the refund works with that is if it does qualify for the ballot within the first 2 years of the summary being submitted, you will, that's the fee goes in and you can get it back actually. If it does not, if it fails to qualify within that period, the fee is put into the general fund of the state. Mm. So that's kind of a lose-lose situation there, or lose for that part at least. So pretty much the third step with that, let's see, the third step is format of the petition. There's some technicality information that comes in there too. Is the format for the initiative petition is specified by law. County elections officials will not accept or file petitions which do not comply with the elections code. A petition may have several sections. So pretty much there's a lot of little inner workings on these. This one, what I noted on most of these steps were just the technical information. There has to be a certain, font, size. But this, in step 3, actually, the format of petitions, the Attorney General gives a unique numerical identifier provided by, obviously the Attorney General, which is I kind of think the reasoning behind this is that for a fact it's not changed or messed with because it has that unique number on it. Mm-hmm. It is California. So step 4 is after you get the format for the petitions, you have circulating petitions and gathering of signatures. There's dates you have to watch out for in here. Based off the official summary date, the Secretary of State will prepare a calendar of filling deadlines. So you pretty much get the deadlines when you start the process. There are a few specific deadlines within this one, like with step 4, the circulation period. Let's see, proponents are allowed a maximum of 180 days from the official summary date to circulate petitions, collect signatures, and file petitions with county election officials. However, the initiative measure must be certified for the ballot at least 131 days before the next general election, at which it will be submitted to the voters. Let's see. As a result, proponents may want to shorten the 180-day circulation period in order to ensure that the proposed initiative measure is certified for the ballot at least 130 days before the next general election. Let's see. And then required number of signatures. This is a big one. And what kind of initiative we're doing a constitutional amendment initiative. Which is a little bit different, actually a lot of bit different than initiative stature. So I'm not going to go into that just because it doesn't pertain to what we're talking about. So the initiative constitutional amendment, petitions proposing initiative constitutional amendments must be signed by registered voters. The number of signatures must be equal to at least 8% of the total votes cast for the office of governor at the last election. The total number of signatures required for such petitions is 997,000 signatures, something of that nature.
997,139.
Thank you, John. Anyway, so it is actually quite a bit different than the initiative stature. Initiative statures must be signed by registered voters, but the number of signatures must be equal to at least 5% of the total votes cast for the office of the governor at the last election.
So that's considerably less than what constitutional.
Right. Well, because
that makes sense.
That's just for statute, so that would just be a regular law.
Right. It makes sense that you'd need more for this. Yeah. So go ahead, Holly. Yeah. Forgive me. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine. So it is. Yeah, I feel like they kind of made this process a little bit more harder to do the constitutional one, which isn't, not bad or good, but kind of not so much in some cases, I guess. So after the signatures, that's pretty much it. Once the proponents have gathered, it's 25% of the number of the signatures required, which is around 150, or wait, I can't math today. Whatever 25% of that 900,000 number is, then it'll go up for the proponents must immediately certify that they have done so under perjury of penalty of perjury to the Secretary of State. Upon receipt of the certification, the Secretary of State will provide copies of the proposed initiative measure and the circulating title and the summary to the Senate.
The 25% would be 249,285 signatures.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I knew somebody would get that number.
We have a calculator we can use. That was good.
Yeah.
Way to go, John.
Unlimited technology.
Amazing what these little phones can do for us these days.
I know, right?
So now this is what we're trying to do, and I hope that our audience is aware of why we are trying to get this, the constitutional of the California Constitution amended. We want better representation. That's bottom line. We are not represented, and I just wanted to reiterate that one more time. John, did you have some more? I'm sure you have some more information that you want to add to this initiative that we are trying to get going. And do you?
Well,
do you have some?
Just to expand on one thing that Holly has recently touched on is, we need to do this in two steps. That's kind of a technical hang-up that I have as an individual, just looking at how government functions. That's some foresight, I guess, on my part, because we're dealing with the same article, the same section, the same clause. We're just dealing with sub-clauses of the same deal. We could probably have one single initiative. Now, in my mind goes to we're dealing with the Senate and the Assembly, and the courts or the legislature will come back at that point and say this is null and void because it deals with multiple subjects. And their argument will be Article 2, Section 8, Clause D of the California Constitution, which reads, an initiative measure embracing more than one subject may not be submitted to the electors or have any effect. Now, realizing I've just previously stated that we're dealing with the same article, the same section, the same clause, but different subsections of that clause, I would prefer to see it in two constitutional amendment ballot initiatives just to squash any possibility of the appearance of unconstitutionality in the initiatives.
John, could you, for my sake, maybe for some others who are listening, those two, you would need two initiatives. The first initiative would be for. Can you elaborate more on what the two separate initiatives would be?
Right. In our last the last episode where we dealt with the proposed initiatives themselves, we covered that, but we can go back over it. It's I need to get to the right.
Well, it deals
here.
with the two separate articles, correct? From what I gathered from our talks and whatnot, just
right. So we're looking at Article 4, Section 2, Clause A, Subclause 1, and Article 4, Section 2, Clause A, Subclause 2. Subclause 1 deals with the Senate.
Okay.
Where it says, verbatim, the Senate has a membership of 40 senators elected to 4-year terms, 20 to begin every 2 years. Mm-hmm. So the proposed change to that subclause is, the Senate shall consist of 2 members from each county elected to a term of 4 years. Each county will elect 1 senator every 2 years, so half the Senate is reelected each biannual election cycle. If approved, 1 senator shall be elected by each county at the next biannual statewide election, and the second group being elected 2 years after the first biannual statewide election. Now, the second proposal deals with Article 4, Section 2, Clause A, Subclause 2. The Assembly has a membership of 80 members to be elected to 2-year terms. The proposed change to that is, after the 2020 federal census and subsequent redistricting, the Assembly shall consist of one Assembly member per 80,000 persons until the number of representatives shall amount to 600.
Okay.
After which the proportion shall be regulated by the legislature so that there shall be an increase in this proportion by 10,000 persons every 100 subsequent Assembly members. And every subsequent reapportionment must not take place until reaching the next subsequent threshold of 100 Assembly members respectively. Each county shall be entitled to at least one Assembly member regardless of population. All apportionment adjustments shall be done following a federal census. If population shall decrease, no adjustment shall be necessary to the member threshold required for the next mandated increase to one of 10,000 persons. Nevertheless, the representation ratio shall remain in effect until such time as reapportionment is mandated. Assembly members shall be elected to 2-year terms, and the entire Assembly will be elected every 2 years.
Okay.
Now, those are the proposals. For me, they're individual proposals in my mind, just to cover on the legality or the constitutional questioning that is absolutely going to arise when we, the people, stand up and insist that we have more representation.
Right. I think it's smart.
Technically, because it deals with the same article, the same section, the same clause. We probably could address the Senate and the Assembly in the state with the same initiative. The same articles have been changed severely through one proposition in the past. In the late 70s. A lot of things were renumbered, moved around throughout whole articles in the Constitution. But I do believe that if we as a people get this qualified for the ballot, that it needs to be 2 separate qualified initiatives so that the legal challenge is dead on arrival.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Because they are 2 separate issues completely. I mean, not completely, they're within the same one, but they both represent a different, part of that process and what we want it to look like.
And we want to cover all of our bases, legally, like you said.
Well, and you have to realize, right now, Assembly members represent multiple counties.
Yes.
And
many people.
regardless of where you live in California right now, or where you're listening to this episode this week, your representative represents multiple counties.
Right.
Under this, your county of residency would be guaranteed at least one representative.
Oh, how nice that would be.
In the Assembly. Now, of course, L.A., San Francisco, Alameda counties. These counties with larger populations, of course, they're going to have more.
Right.
Because they're larger.
Deservedly so, yes.
But even if you only have, even if your county only has 10,000 people, you're still guaranteed that one representative in the Assembly.
Which is perfect, because it just makes it just makes sense. I mean, just using Wyoming with that, I'm just going to use that as an example in the Senate. Wyoming has less than 1 million people and 2 senators. We have 40 million people or 43 million, somewhere in that, in California. And we have 2 senators. It's
senators is a different issue.
It is a different issue, but it's similar.
Now we address senators
Represent
in one of the ballot proposition proposals that each county will get 2.
Right.
Okay.
Perfect.
Now some are going to argue that this can't be done because Reynolds versus Sims, and I want to be very clear to everyone listening. While the Supreme Court made an opinion based on the case of Reynolds versus Sims, that opinion only applies to the state of Alabama and Reynolds and Sims. Courts do not make rulings. The Supreme Court definitely does not make rulings. They make opinion, and that opinion only pertains to the parties involved in the case. The fact that 30-some other states grabbed a hold of Reynolds versus Sims, and some people in our listening area and the state of Jefferson movement believe Reynolds versus Sims to be the law of the land is patently false. It is not, because our legislature choose to adopt that policy doesn't mean we can't stand up and say, no, we're going to have something different. And if it's good enough for the United States, all 50 of us to be represented by 2 in the Senate, then our counties should be represented by 2 in our state Senate.
Exactly. Nice.
Yep.
And if everyone listens to these shows, especially on these ballot initiative proposals that I've put forward, listen to them over and over until you absolutely understand it. Go back and listen to our show on Articles of the First. Listen to when we talk to the candidates for California District 10. My words don't change. My ideas don't change. I'm pushing on Articles of the First style proportionment with the candidates, with the sitting congressmen on the federal level, and I'm pushing that in this proposition. Common sense Articles of the First style representation for the state of California in this initiative proposal. Now, I personally may not have the time to make this happen. Holly may end up not having the time or the funds to make this happen. I'm going to say right now, as the author of these proposals, I don't care who grabs it and runs with it, but we need to make this happen.
This has to happen.
Oh yeah, it has to.
This has to go.
I don't doubt that it won't, to be honest. Like, I'm not always, the best at technicalities, especially with political stuff, but I do understand the general theme and what the point is. And it makes mathematically, your proposals make sense. Like the way they're set up. So, it just makes sense. There's really not too many, I know there's people out there that say, oh, well, it costs a lot or this or that, but, it makes sense though. And it's the way for, everybody to be happy, and it's the constitutional way to do it in California. So.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. We're using the laws and the regulations that we have been afforded. And
we're using the Constitution.
We're using the Constitution. That's right.
And we're using that before asking the courts to intervene, before just picking up arms and standing on the Capitol steps. Now, I'm not going to advocate violence on any level, but these steps must be taken prior to resulting to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
We just want them to listen to us. We do run the risk of the judges throwing it out, but it is constitutional. That risk. It's happened before where the initiative is
right, and I think we're hinting around towards the marriage equality issue.
That's where I am. That's where I was.
I believe that was Proposition 8 the last time it went around. Absolutely was a constitutional amendment to the state constitution. That marriage is absolutely a states' rights issue. It's not enumerated in the federal Constitution anywhere that I've read. I've read the document page to page, cover to cover. It's not there. It's a 10th Amendment issue reserved to the states. Regardless of that, my personal issue is it's not even a government issue.
Marriage, exactly.
My personal feeling is and I've said it on this program before. I'll say it again. That there's no need for a constitutional amendment, but shall the state want that and the voters say they want that, then that's constitutional. On the state level, no judge should ever interfere. But like I'm saying, no government should step in. That's a religious practice between two individuals.
Right.
I'm not saying that the state was the people were right in passing that or wrong in passing that.
Mm-hmm.
The electorate can do what it will. Just like we're trying to change the
libertarian way.
That's I think that's what John is trying to say. John is trying to say.
Well, it is, but just like we're trying to change representation on a constitutional level, a group of people wanted to define marriage in this state, and they did it through a ballot initiative to change the Constitution. Now, a judge did reject that on civil rights grounds or on personal freedoms grounds.
Right.
I have mixed feelings on it. Whether it's constitutional. The judge did that judge have the right to do so or not? Regardless,
it happened.
It happened. And if we can pass that, and if we can pass that initiative, that constitutional amendment, not once but twice in the state of California, by God, we should be able to pass these two.
They should be. Yes.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Well, I think so. I mean, you hear all these different, people complaining, just on Facebook alone about, they don't like this law or that law, but this is a way to give those people a voice where it's guaranteed they have representation in their county, within their state, that's important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Representation, it should be number one. Without representation, we
don't have a foundation without it,
Who's going to listen? We're going to have to, we'd have to live our lives the way someone else feels that we should live it. And I don't that's not the American way. You should be able to live your life the way you want to. And, that goes back to the marriage thing as well. So where do we go from here? What do we do now? So our first.
Well, we pretty much.
I'm looking for. Yeah, we're looking for somebody. It says within the steps, the first step after you have the proposal written, the initiative written. There's like a few ways you can do it. You can have, you can seek your own counsel to look it over because it has to have, the right language and the right form for clarity reasons. Or you can also, I believe, have the Secretary of State review the provisions of the proposed initiative measure after it is prepared and prior to its circulation. I think our best bet, and I mean, we're very open to ideas, too, but I think our best bet is to seek, somebody willing to volunteer their time to look this over and make sure it's picture perfect, that, the right language and the right form. So we don't,
someone with a legal mind or an attorney. Is that what you're saying?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I've reached out to 2 people so far.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see. But we really do need as much help as we can because these are things that, some of us don't have a skill set. I don't know anything about laws pertaining in, formal language and format. So, people that are really, want this to happen, we gotta have some backup, man.
Well, and you hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. I don't have the skill set or the knowledge. I don't have the legal background. And what I'll say to everyone, and I've said it to Holly before, but I'll say it to everyone, is when we read the Constitution of the state of California or the United States of America, or we read our laws, our statutes, our amendments, these things aren't meant to be read by only the judiciary or only the elected representatives. These things are meant to be concise, to the point, and understandable to a high school graduate. If a high school graduate could understand what I've read and written in the proposals, then they are of a sufficient legal nature to proceed.
Okay.
If there is zero question in your mind when you read that proposal, what it says, what it would translate into, then it's ready to go.
Okay. Well,
I do understand that the Secretary of State's going to be like, well, this needs to be comma here, period here, this and that. Grammatically, it's going to have to be perfect because we can't submit anything to the voters that's not grammatically perfect. People can't read if we don't have a comma and a period in here.
But they can certainly have a slant, can't they? So I understand what you're saying, John, and I completely agree with you. But I do think that having having someone with a background in legal would be able to see if there's looking at
to see any loopholes. I think
loopholes or
anything that wouldn't work out, or hey, they'll say this about this part, or this needs to be a little bit more clear. Even though I think it's very straightforward, and I think John did a great job. I just want to cross all our T's and dot all our I's.
Exactly.
Well, absolutely, and I'm not discounting that. I just want the listeners to know that when we read these documents were written for people of a 6th to 8th grade education level to understand.
Right.
It's not something that's commonly perpetrated that you have to have a Juris Doctorate to read these things. You don't have
no pun
to have
intended there.
Right, you don't have to have graduated Harvard Law to understand the Constitution. This is a document for regular men, written by regular men. When I say men, I'm gonna just say everyone right now.
There you go.
I don't want anyone to be offended. I use men in strictly a human perspective.
Good for you, John. Good for clarifying
I like that
one. Yeah, good.
Thanks.
So okay, we're now that's been pretty well explained and well done on both of your parts. Is there any other questions that, Aaron, do you have anything that you would like to add to this?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Go ahead, Holly. Did you want to add?
Pat.
No, add. Please go ahead.
After we get that, after we seek, somebody to help us with that, even if it's just ourselves, if we end up doing it ourselves, let's see, then we would have to submit the draft. So those are kind of like the next, little steps we need, and those are the first 2 steps.
And that's when we need that first initial money okay, we need that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
within step 2 as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the fee for it, but
right.
I figure.
Well, I can see a lot of people getting behind this. I know that there's a lot of people who are feel disenfranchised, feeling that the government doesn't listen to us. I am one of those people. I think everyone that I'm speaking with tonight feels that way as well, and I'm sure that our audience perhaps has that feeling too. So I would, as much as I know we're going to need help, we're going to need money, we're going to need to advertise this. We will definitely have this on every social network that we can think of. So other than that, I'm not sure if we can get any.
First,
go ahead.
First, to qualify the initiative for the ballot,
right.
It's just the $2,000 fee per initiative that you want to do. Now, I understand.
I'm getting a little bit ahead of ours.
Right. Some people in the listening audience, some people in the territory that composes several state split movements. There are folks that say it'll never happen. You don't have the funds to make it happen. The largest reason they say that is because everything is previously based on paid petition signature gatherers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
With something of this nature in the sphere of influence that listens to this show, that associates with those individuals, I don't see a need for paid petition signature gatherers.
I could not agree more. I could not agree more.
When this is not a Northern California issue. This is not a Central California issue. This is not a Southern California issue. This is a statewide issue, and to get 997,200 some signatures could be done rapidly and without payment to anyone. There are enough liberty-minded, representation-minded folks that will volunteer their time, carry the petitions in front of the Walmart, the Save March, to wherever, whoever will let them put up a table in front of their store and volunteer the time to get those signatures.
Oh, I
agree.
Now, when you come down to TV time for ads and this and that, mailers, other things, yeah, these are expensive, but guess what, folks? There's donors out there. I may not know them. Pat may not know them. Aaron may not know them. And Holly may not know them. But the Zuckerbergs, the Bill Gates, the people of that stature that are liberty-minded will seek us out once it's proven that we can qualify it. I have faith that God will provide the funding to push the message to the people of this state.
Good. We need to make sure we have God in this. Yes. God, God, please help us with this.
Well,
I'm
praying
right now for it.
And we have to have that faith. If we go on saying, well, there's no rich donors, so why try it?
Right.
Then,
because basically this is not a party. This is not a left or a right or a Republican or a Democrat issue. This is your constitutional right to be represented. It's your constitutional right to change the nature of government in the state of California. So regardless of where some individuals personally land on the funding, if you do not try, you will not succeed. Right.
I know I've spoken with several individuals that would like to qualify this for the 2020 ballot. It's not impossible. I believe it to be very improbable. Here we are, releasing this episode on the 29th of June. We're here recording the 27th of June. Let's just get real. If we are to do a full check method of the signatures, meaning every signature is absolutely verified, every single signature, this needs to be turned into the Secretary of State Tuesday, July 2nd, 2019. I don't know that we have the time for that. If we do a random sampling of signatures, we're 95 to 115%. I don't know how you get 115%. I always knew a 100% was the max, but okay, whatever. of the signatures are accurate. Okay, that date is Tuesday, August 20th, 2019. So I absolutely think it would be great to have it on the ballot with Donald Trump. I absolutely think it would be great to have it on a midterm state election where people aren't turning out to elect Mr. Gavin Newsom again. But I do not know that we have the time to qualify it for 2020.
I have my doubts as well. But the Lord does work in mysterious ways. I'm hopeful too.
I know, right?
Like I said, the Lord works in mysterious ways. Maybe if we
but we have to be realistic. We're looking at literally 2 days from the date this show airs.
Right.
To get a full count on this signatures and a little over a month and a half to get a random sampling method count. Now that doesn't mean we have to have the signatures by these days. That means we have to submit the proposal to the Secretary of State by these days. It could be done. I don't have $4,000 to pull out of my pocket to do it.
None of us do.
I know. Well,
none of us do at this point.
I know.
So,
but that's why we band together. This is why we're, a state of California, why we're not seceding from the state. This is why, this is something that unifies us and creates unity within our state.
And
like this is something for everybody.
Right. I think we need to keep our nose to the grindstone. I think we need to make sure we have our plan plan set, and I think we need to go for it. But like I said, we can give it a try for the 2020, but I don't see us doing now. If we get that in by July, what was it? July 2nd. Which
is a full count now. That means they absolutely verify every signature.
And how many signatures do you need on that?
So that's 997,000.
And we need that. We need all of those signatures by the 2nd of July?
No. That's just when we have to submit the proposal.
Okay.
To the Secretary of State.
Okay.
July 2nd, if they're going to count every signature.
Okay.
On the deal. And I don't know who determines whether it's a full count or a random sample. Mm-hmm. Now it would be my assumption that something of this nature would be a full count. Okay, because
I think there's two ways. I don't know if that's. I want to say that there is two specific ways to do it, and I'm not sure. I think it's maybe up to the person that submits it. Or like you or me, you know what I mean? It's up to the process that,
We need to know. And I see that we have some, we're not really clear on what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. So I would be I wouldn't.
Well, like I'm saying, okay, I don't know for sure. I haven't read the whole how to qualify a ballot packet. It's 49 pages, and I left that to other people. I'm just saying I can see the Secretary of State on a constitutional amendment of the nature that we're dealing with here, insisting that every signature be absolutely verified to be a registered voter,
right?
And not allowing that random sampling, regardless of if it is an option for us or not.
Well, we just have to count on that. Can't.
Right, exactly. Right. So that's why I'm saying we have to go with that full check method, and that deadline for filing is literally the 2nd of July, days away.
Yeah. So I think just to make sure that we're making sure that we do this correctly and that we are taken seriously. I think we should really put this off to 2022.
Well, if someone
that's
wanted
just me.
If someone wanted to step up and and produce the funds necessary to get involved with us and secure the funding to submit these, hey, I will email anyone the file that I have that shows what we want to change, what the proposed change is, and they can run up to Sacramento and do this. I don't need this to be the Wilhelm Osgood, Temerez, Davies, Hassapakis Act. You know, I really don't.
Yeah, no, we just want help and,
this could
means
this could
to do
be,
so.
You know, the Joe Blow Act, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I don't even care if you know, Jefferson wanted to put the money up and run with the idea and make it the Baird Raposa Act. Doesn't matter.
I just
want it to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the humble way to do it. Well, guys, did you have anything else you wanted to add to this? We'd be really happy for someone in our listening audience, maybe to get a hold of us. We'd be ecstatic. John would be very happy to go ahead and we are very good at helping. We have a good group of people who would work their fingers to the bone to get this to go.
Well, and there have been people out of the blue contact me very interested in working on this.
Oh, that's great news.
So
that's great news.
You know, we need to see where that goes. But I think you know, Pat said it earlier. The Lord works in mysterious ways. I didn't expect anyone to contact me out of the blue because of my rants and raves on this issue, this subject, and someone has reached out. Someone that is very, very liberty-minded and has a good grasp on representation, why we need it, how to push for it, very articulate, and we'll see where that goes.
That would be awesome.
You know,
awesome. Yeah, that would be.
It would be great if someone came through and we got the backing, the support to make this happen for July 2nd.
Oh.
You know, that'd be a great gift for the pending
holiday, the
Independence Day.
Yep.
It would also be a great wedding gift for Matthew and Sarah. Since this is airing after your wedding, we'd like to say congratulations.
Absolutely. I'm so excited for that. I can't wait to see what those two can do with their lives. Together.
We're excited.
So I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and mull this over in your minds, folks. This is something that could really help the whole state of California. This could be something that would alleviate the large populations voting for things that we don't want. It would alleviate a lot of problems. So I'm gonna go ahead and
it loosens.
Should we wrap this up?
Yeah, it absolutely, in closing, loosens their control. It gives it gives groups of 80,000 of us, regardless of our area of residency, the same voice.
Right.
It gives those 80,000 the same access, the greater access. Now we all have the access that 1 in 500,000 has.
Guess what?
And if we change that to 1 in 80,000,
our votes would count. Again, which would be wonderful. Well, I think we'll go ahead and stop this recording for now, and we'll just, guys, everybody, mull this over in your mind, because this could really work. And I'm going to go ahead and close for this evening, and thank you, everybody, for listening.
Excellent. We'd like to thank Holly for being with us.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Holly,
thank
I'm so sorry. Yes, all your hard work. Forgive me, Holly. I've neglected to thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I really appreciate you guys. It's fun.
Okay, good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks again, everyone.
All right. See ya.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Jefferson Liberty Radio. You can get in touch with us. Email us at feedback@jeffersonlibertyradio.com or via our website at jeffersonlibertyradio.com. You can also leave us a voicemail at 209-214-8099. That's 209-214-4089. We'd love to hear your questions and comments. Don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcast player of choice. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, or your podcast player of choice. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review where you can. We'd really appreciate it, and it actually does help our ratings. You can find us on all the typical social media, Twitter, Facebook, even some alternative media such as BitChute and Gab. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Jefferson Liberty Radio, and we'll catch you next time. Jefferson Liberty Radio is a production of Forgotten Liberty Media. The views expressed by the host or guests throughout the various episodes may not necessarily reflect the views of Forgotten Liberty Media as a company.